Holy schmolies! $20.71
Before tax.
before tax. Man, what's it made out of gold?
With tax, $22.46.
$22.46. God damn!
If you really want to understand inflation, the real mechanics behind why prices explode, why salaries fall behind, and why your purchasing power silently vanishes, we need to look at the forces most people never notice. Not just money printing or greedy corporations, but the deeper system that actually controls what your money is worth. And honestly, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Because inflation isn't random. It's not an accident. It's not even a mistake. It's a chain reaction, a perfectly predictable one, set off by governments, banks, markets, and consumers all moving together like gears in a machine. And if one gear turns too fast, everything else shifts with it. So let's break this entire thing down properly so you can finally understand inflation. To understand inflation, you first have to understand where money actually comes from. Most people think governments print it, but the truth is crazier. Commercial banks create the majority of the money in the economy every time they issue a loan. When you swipe to buy a car or take a mortgage, that money wasn't sitting in a vault. It's created on the spot. So imagine an economy like a giant bucket. Every new loan fills the bucket with more water, more money. As the bucket fills, the price of everything inside it rises. Not because people got richer, but because there's more water flooding the system, chasing the same amount of goods. That's the quiet engine behind inflation, credit expansion. And once you see that, you understand why inflation doesn't just happen, it's engineered. People think prices rise only when interest rates go up or when governments mismanage budgets. But inflation starts way earlier, in the supply chain, in financing costs, in expectations. Here's the sneaky part. Inflation doesn't begin at the supermarket. It begins in boardrooms. Before your grocery store increases the price of eggs, the wholesaler already increased it. Before the wholesaler increased it, the distributor increased it. And before the distributor, the farmer increased it. And the farmer increased it because energy prices went up and labor costs rose, and the loan repayments got more expensive. It's a domino effect that builds up silently, layer by layer, until the final layer, which is the consumer, gets hit. You only feel the end of inflation, not the beginning. Expectations. One of the most interesting and dangerous drivers of inflation is expectation. When businesses and workers expect prices to rise in the future, they adjust early. Workers demand higher wages. Companies raise prices to get ahead of costs. Suppliers renegotiate contracts. It becomes a self-fulfilling cycle. Inflation rises because everyone believes inflation will rise. This is why central banks care so much about anchoring expectations. If people lose trust in the currency, no amount of interest rate hikes can pull inflation back down. Once confidence breaks, prices act like fire. They spread fast. Governments also have an enormous influence on inflation. When a government runs massive deficits, especially during crises, they inject fresh demand into an economy that may not have the supply to handle it. But what's even more important is how they finance that spending. Debt-financed spending increases the pressure on the financial system. When governments issue bonds, someone must buy them. Banks, funds, investors, they absorb that debt, and large amounts of government borrowing push interest rates upward, which makes everything else more expensive. So yes, governments contribute to inflation, not just through printing or spending, but through reshaping the entire cost structure of the economy. Why your prices depend on other countries. We don't live in isolated markets anymore. inflation crosses borders. If China's factories raise prices, your electronics get expensive. If oil-producing nations tighten supply, your transportation costs explode. If shipping lanes get disrupted, your imports become a luxury. Which means inflation in your country isn't fully controlled by your government or your central bank. It's affected by wars, shortages, supply chain failures, trade tensions, and even climate disasters thousands of miles away. This global sensitivity makes inflation unpredictable. You can control domestic money supply, but you can't control a flood in Thailand or a port shutdown in Europe. Corporate behavior. People often say greedy corporations caused inflation, but the truth is more complicated. Companies always want to make profit. That's not new. What changes is their pricing power. When demand is high or supply is limited, corporations suddenly have room to push prices higher without losing customers. And once they see competitors doing the same, they join in. But here's the twist. In some industries, companies raise prices not because their costs increase, but because consumers expect prices to go up anyway, so nobody questions it. This is what economists call opportunistic inflation, and it's a real phenomenon. Not illegal, not immoral, but definitely frustrating. Wages. Why you never catch up. Inflation becomes painful when wages don't move at the same speed as prices, and they almost never do. Companies delay wage increases to protect profit. Workers only get raises after inflation has already eaten them alive. Add automation, outsourcing, and global labor competition, and you get a system where keeping up with inflation feels like running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. You work harder, you produce more, but your purchasing power weakens. That's the real frustration most people feel. It's not that things are expensive. It's that they're expensive while your salary stays the same. Central banks. Central banks raise interest rates to slow inflation. But high rates also kill businesses, slow hiring, increase the cost of debt, and create recessions. They don't have gentle tools, only blunt ones. So the irony is that the institutions meant to control inflation often react late, which creates inflationary spikes. Then they react aggressively, which causes painful slowdowns, and the average citizen gets caught in the middle. Inflation isn't just about numbers or charts. It's about the erosion of financial stability. When prices change too fast, planning becomes impossible. Saving becomes pointless, salaries feel meaningless, the future becomes blurry. The uncertainty of what people feel most when they say everything is getting expensive. It's not the price, it's the chaos. If there's one thing to take away from all of this, it's that inflation isn't a single villain. It's not greedy corporations or government printing money or supply chain issues. It's a system, a network of behaviors, policies, expectations, shocks, and incentives all interacting at once. Inflation is the result of the entire machine working together or breaking together. And the more you understand these forces, the less confused you feel. Because when you finally see how the system works, you realize inflation isn't mysterious at all. It's predictable, it's logical, and it's structural. And it's not going anywhere. See you in the next one.